welcome back to episode 4 of the Madden Report. I'm James Madden, joined alongside my co-host, Coach Madden. Coach, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, James. Great day out. We're here at beautiful Tom Grand Diamond, and we couldn't ask for a better day.
And so for today's episode, we're going to have two different topics: the NBA playoffs, which have begun a couple days ago. That was the playing rounds, but the first round will begin tomorrow. That's April 16th. And then a little bit after that, we'll get into it later in the show. We'll be giving kind of a preview of the Red Sox season this year. So without further ado, we're going to hop into the NBA playoffs, our rundown of the first round and all those matchups. But our first matchups we have are the two play-in games, also take place tonight, which is Friday, April 15th. We have in the Eastern Conference the 8 versus 9 matchup, the number 9 Atlanta Hawks visiting the number 8 Cleveland Cavaliers.
I like Atlanta in this game, James. I just think that they're better offensively and more defensively sound. So I like them by about 10 to 12.
This game's going to be a very good game. I think it will come down to the wire. Cleveland is a team that's very young. They've surprised a lot of people this year, and their guard play has been terrific. Darius Garland has been one of the most improved players in the NBA. And I'm going to take Cleveland. I think their athleticism and their youth is going to win them this game, as well as down low. They're have some of the best big men in the NBA, as well as in the entire Eastern Conference. So I like Evan Mobley and Lauri Markkanen. They're just two athletic bigs that can stretch the floor for them, and I think they're going to give Atlanta a ton of trouble in the front court. So I'm going to go with Cleveland in this one to move on to take on Milwaukee in the first round. Miami in the first round. Next up is the Western Conference play-in round. We have the number 9 New Orleans Pelicans. They're visiting the number 8 Los Angeles Clippers.
I like the Clippers in this one. They're a little bit more veteran sound. The Pelicans are young. I like the Clippers by 3.
And yeah, this is going to be an interesting game. Two very different teams. Los Angeles is a team with a ton of playoff experience, a ton of NBA experience, and New Orleans is a team that doesn't have a lot of experience in the playoffs, maybe aside from C.J. McCollum and Brandon Ingram when he was in his young years with L.A. But I'm going to go L.A. as well as in this one because they have a lot more experience in the playoffs, and I think New Orleans has shown this season that they can be promising. They have won big games down the stretch, but I think Los Angeles is just a better team, and I think they'll take care of business, move on to play Phoenix. And next up, we have our 1 versus 8 matchup. I have number 1 Miami versus number 8 Cleveland. And for you, you have the number 1 Miami versus the number 8 Atlanta Hawks. What do you think?
I like Cleveland. They've had a pretty sound year. I think they get this in 6. I don't think it'll go too much further. I don't think it'll get to Game 7.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. I think Miami pulls this one off. And like you said, they're the 1 seed for a reason. And I think that they're going to take care of business. They've proven to be one of the best teams in the NBA. And no matter who wins that play-in game, in my opinion, I don't think they'll have enough to beat Miami, and I think Miami wins in 5. Next up, we have a 4-5 matchup, which is always fun. Number 4, Philadelphia 76ers taking on the number 5 Toronto Raptors, a Toronto team that's, again, like Cleveland, has surprised a lot of people this year and has really turned it around after losing Kawhi Leonard. But, like I said, an all-Atlantic division matchup, number 4 Philadelphia versus number 5 Toronto.
I like Toronto in this one, James. I think this is going to go the full 7, and I like Nick Nurse. I think he's a very good coach, and I think he will be able to get his guys to a Game 7 victory.
I like Nick Nurse as well, and I'm with you on this one. I think Toronto kind of pulls off the little upset of a 5-over-4, but I'm going to go with Toronto as well. I think something that's going to be huge for them is whether or not they can win a game in Philadelphia in the first 2. If they can steal one in Philadelphia, make it a 1-1 series going back to Toronto, I think they're going to be in good shape because one of Philadelphia's top defenders and most athletic players, Matisse Thybulle, as of right now, I'm not sure if his status has changed, but he's ineligible to play in their games in Toronto due to his vaccination status and the rules in Toronto. So that's going to be a big loss for Philadelphia. But like you said, I like Nick Nurse. He's proven to be one of the best coaches in the NBA. His team seems to always be in the mix, no matter the talent they have, the roster they have. So I'm going to go with Toronto in this one. Next up, we have the number 3 Milwaukee Bucks taking on number 6 Chicago. Another matchup between two teams in the same division, the Midwest. What do you think?
I like Milwaukee in this one. I think this is going to be a clean sweep, and Chicago has really, really struggled this year at times. And the firepower that Milwaukee has right down the roster is good enough to get them a sweep.
Yeah, and I think though it may not be a sweep, I think Milwaukee handles this series pretty easily. Like you said, Chicago has struggled, especially down the stretch this season. They started the season as one of the hottest teams in the NBA. They were the 1 seed back in January. But, as late March, early April rolled around, it seems like they couldn't even have won a game. And they have a ton of talent. They have Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Nikola Vucevic, but I think Milwaukee just has too much firepower and too much talent to lose to a Chicago team that's been really inconsistent this year. So I'm going to go Milwaukee in 5. And next up, we have my favorite matchup, obviously. The number 2, Boston Celtics, taking on a star-studded number 7 Brooklyn Nets.
James, I think this is the toughest series that the Celtics could get. I'm not going to be a homer here. I'm going to be actually anti-Celtic here. I think they lose in 6, and I don't think they have enough to get through Brooklyn.
And like you said, this is definitely a tough matchup for both teams, 2 of the best teams in the NBA on paper, as well as we've seen this season. The Celtics have really turned their ship around tremendously since January 1st. And I'm going to this might be a little bias kicking in, but I'm going to go Celtics in 7. I just think the Celtics combination of their defense, plus they've shown that they can score the ball consistently this year, is going to be too much for Brooklyn, who has proven to be one of the worst defensive teams. At times this year, they haven't been able to stop anybody defensively. And Ime Udoka actually hasn't ruled out Robert Williams for Game 1. I would be shocked if he does play, but anything's possible. So Robert Williams still is a possibility to play Game 1, but I'm going to go Celtics in 7. Next up, we move over to the Western Conference. We have top-seeded Phoenix Suns taking on the 8th-seeded Los Angeles Clippers.
I like the Suns. Actually, I like the Suns to win it all, but the Suns just play a different style of basketball. They get up and down, and they score a lot of points. I really like them to, 4-0 sweep in this one.
I'm with you on this one. I like the Suns team a lot. They're young, as well as they have a ton of experience with Devin Booker, Chris Paul, and teams with that much young talent, as well as that much experience with guys like Chris Paul have been around the block for 15 years, are teams that are tough to beat. And we saw it last year. They went to the NBA Finals, and they've proven that that's not a fluke, finishing 64-18 this year. And really, what they've done is to turn around not only the past 2 seasons, but kind of their franchise is really tremendous. Monty Williams has done a great job. He's made the Phoenix Suns relevant for what seems like the first time since the early 2000s. So great things going on in Phoenix. I'm going to go Phoenix in 5. Next up, we have a 4 versus 5 matchup, another real fun matchup. We got the Dallas Mavericks playing the number 5 seeded Utah Jazz.
This is going to be a grind of a series. I like Dallas in 7. I just think their guard play and their bigs mix well together, and they're very balanced. I like Dallas in 7.
I like Utah. Like you said, I think this is going to go 7 in that Game 7, which will be in Dallas. If there is a Game 7, could go either way. One thing that I think is big is if Utah can win their Game 1 tomorrow afternoon in Dallas, because Luka Doncic is inactive with a calf strain. So I think Utah, if they're able to maybe win 1, possibly 2 in Dallas, they're going to be obviously in very good shape, go back home with a series tie. But I'm going to go Utah on this one. I just think they have too much talent with Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, and a Dallas team that really depends on Luka Doncic. Though I have said in the past, I think Tim Hardaway Jr. is maybe one of, if not the most underrated players in the NBA. But I'm going to go Utah in 7. Next up, we got 3-seeded Golden State Warriors, who have really had a tremendous season this year, and the number 6-seeded Denver Nuggets.
I like Golden State in 5, James. Denver has had a pretty good year, but I just think that the guard play in Golden State is just going to be too much for Denver to handle.
And I'm within this one. I've been a big fan of Golden State. I wouldn't say rooted for Golden State because I might come off as a bandwagon, but I've been a big fan of Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson. And I'm going to go Golden State in this one. I'm going to go Golden State in 6. I think they might have a little bit of trouble when they go over to Denver, but I think if Steph Curry can, show that he's healthy, because he has battled injuries the past couple of weeks, if Steph Curry can go out there and play like he has been all year and play like his healthy self, I think Golden State will be in good shape not only to win the series, but to compete with the Western Conference, to compete for the NBA title. So I'm going to go Golden State in this one. Golden State in 6. And next up, we got a 2 versus 7 matchup, a Memphis team that's been one of the most fun teams to watch all of the NBA, taking on another team that's very fun to watch with a ton of youth and a ton of experience and a ton of talent, is the 7-seeded Minnesota Timberwolves.
I like the upset here, James. Minnesota, I think, the youthfulness and the ability to get up and down, I think will get them the upset win in the series. I like them in 6.
And like you said, they are a team that is very athletic, very young, very fast, and no matter how good you are, those types of teams are very tough to beat, especially in the playoffs. And I like this Memphis team a lot. John Morant is obviously a stud, as well as, they have a ton of youth, Desmond Bane, Dylan Brooks, Jonas Valanciunas, who's had a monster year for them. But I think I'm going to go Minnesota in 7. I like this Minnesota team. I'm a huge fan of Anthony Edwards, not only for his basketball skills, but I love him off the court. I love his interviews. But I'm going to go Minnesota in 7 because I just think their scoring with Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns is just going to be too much to handle. And I'm going to go, Minnesota in 7. And that will do it for our rundown of the first round of the NBA playoffs. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to tune into our next episode of the Madden Report. I'm your host, James Madden, joined alongside my co-host, Coach Madden. Thanks for tuning in.